Hey guys, and welcome back to a bit of a different Polybridge video this week. Today I'm joined by Arglin, an amazing over-engineering Polybridge YouTuber.
Hello, I'm Arglin. You may know me from the over-engineering multiple levels in the past, most often with a very small number of hydraulics.
Arglin reached out to me and asked if I wanted to help him make an over-engineered drawbridge, which I was totally on board with.
So the idea I had in mind was to over-engineer level 1-6 for a drawbridge. If you come from my side, you know I've loved this level. But today we're going to throw in a bit of a twist. With some recent advancements with file editing, courtesy of multiple people from the Polybridge community, our files can be merged, allowing us to build two unique halves of the bridge that can be put together in the final cut.
So if you want to watch the uncut footage of our designs with our live commentary, make sure to click the link on screen now. Otherwise, continue watching to enjoy the edited footage and our thought process. Alright, I lost the first few seconds of footage, but really I just wanted to rotate those last two roads over to that other side. And I didn't know how else to put all my failed designs in, so here you go. And this might not look like it would work for what I wanted to do, and it's because it's not. I went for a different design here instead. I just wanted to lift up the bridge, because I figured if I can get some cool movement out of the cradle mechanism, I'd rather do that. So now I'm just adjusting the arms a bit, seeing what I can get with it. I'm getting some movement to the left as well, which is what I wanted. But now I gotta knock out some of the wobble it has. And now I'm just trying to focus on a single piece of road, because I realized the second road I'm gonna want to do something else anyways, so might as well just do one at a time. And after a bit of adjustment I get this movement, which is good, moves farther to the left, and it moves up. So now I'm trying something a little bit different. I'm trying to shorten the left arm. And this is going to create an uneven movement, and you'll see it actually creates rotation. So I almost got like 45 degrees of rotation out of that. But I took it to an extreme, and you see I get way more rotation now, almost 180 degrees. I had an idea of what I wanted to do with the bridge now, but I needed to add in the guiding arms to the second road to make sure it would actually, work and look good. And after adding those in here, you'll see what I get. It looked suspiciously like an arrowhead, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make an arrow now. But it wasn't as easy as it might seem, because I still need a way to move those other two roads to the right spots. And my first thought was to make that third road, that isn't connected to anything at the moment, go in between the arrowhead at the vertice right there. But I didn't really have any movement on the mechanism right now that would be able to pull it into the right spot, so I needed to develop something. So you see here I'm trying for an under support. So now the plan was just to get that rotating piece to pull in that third road with it. So you see I'm attaching that up here, and the hope is it gets all the way to the vertice of those two roads in the arrowhead, and, well, it doesn't get there, but it did get some movement, which was encouraging. So after a bit of fine-tuning, because, you know, it's always a bit of fine-tuning, I got this design, which scared me. Because the road would rotate and then just slam into the other two roads, which was a big problem. And I figured I could maybe get this to work, but that seemed like it was going to be the best case scenario with the road, the vertice at the edge of the road going in between the other two roads, and if that didn't work, I didn't know what was going to. So I tried this design, which was the closest I got, but you see it's not on center, and it's pointing in the wrong direction, so it just wasn't really ideal, but I liked this idea of a mechanism. At the time I was just messing around, but you'll see here what I get. The triangle expands a lot in the opposite direction from those two roads that make the arrowhead. So you see that piece that pushes out. And it was good. It was a good mechanism, but I needed a way to responsibly move it out. So with some guiding arms, you see I got this sort of movement, which was perfect. It was just at the wrong angle. I just needed to move the left joint up and to the left, as you see I'm doing here, and eventually I get that here. It looks good. Now I'm adding in a little piece to show where I want that other road to land. So you see how it makes the shape of an arrow, the other ones. And it was a bit tricky to get this to work. I tried adding the guiding arm in, but it wasn't getting the distance I needed. I'll get back to fixing that later. Here I'm adding in one guiding arm. And I'm gonna add in a second one real soon. Yep, that's what I'm doing right here. So you see it moves, but nowhere near the distance I need it to. So I'm adding a triangle over here, so that when it rotates even further, and I get more distance, as you see here. But that's still not enough, so I need to do even more. And, well, that broke the bridge. But this actually worked. which was surprising, but in a good way. This was good, but now what I wanted to do was make it a bit prettier, because the bridge had a lot of overlapping steel, looked like a big spider web, and it just wasn't great. So I could get rid of that bottom piece of steel if I increased the spine of the bridge, which was nice. And here I'm just getting rid of a bunch of steel that was just straight up unnecessary, or I just kind of could replace with a shorter run, like, really easily. Wait, that shouldn't be a road. And then I'm replacing this piece, which had a long run, I can make shorter. And here it actually got pretty interesting, because I have no idea how this ended up working. Well, I guess working is a relative term, but I mean, like, the hydraulic worked perfectly. And I realized if I make this part a muscle, I can actually simplify the back significantly by getting rid of this top node up here. And I can get rid of a shorter run up here. Well, I can make a shorter run up here. And I can simplify the spine of the bridge by just making one node that connects to everything. So that's what I'm doing here. And actually I can get rid of this piece and lower the support. And really that was it. All I did at this point was replace like 2 things with wood and then move the top piece of the spine over. But that was it. And you see here, the bridge actually works. Shockingly.
Alright, so I've ended up filling with multiple designs which I've chosen not to really show because most of them aren't really that interesting. If you want to see how they look, you can go check them out in the uncut version. So I decided to first play with the outer small roads by creating the shell of a windmill, or at least that's what Reed calls it, so I'm just going to go off of that. I used a couple of linkages to make sure that the roads would stay flat regardless of position. I then finally placed the hydraulic itself, and what you're seeing me make here is a 180 degree of rotation using a single hydraulic that is reversible. And after a bit of fiddling, I linked the 180 degree rotation linkage to the windmill, and heck yeah, it works. Okay, well, yeah, it works, but it's not very useful. It just pulls the roads back into where they're located, and it just puts it right in front of the boat, which, not very strategic. Okay, so 180 degrees is out the window. I mean, 90 degrees is probably my simplest bet, but what about 270 degree? So I set out to work on a linkage that would rotate 270 degrees. Oh, side note, it turns out if you have a node that's colliding with the ground, you can just turn it into a split joint, assuming the level allows you to do so. And it just phases directly to the ground. Kind of funny to look at, but it makes sense why the developers chose to do this. Now I'm going to fast forward the rest of this footage because it's just me fumbling around figuring out how to bunch together a whole bunch of linkages, and I'm going to be honest, I have no clue how I figured this out now that I'm doing this commentary, so just trust me that I figured out how to magically solve the 270 degree rotation problem. And here's the final product. I'll admit it's rather a big shock to me how well it rotated during the retraction and re-extension phases. And there goes the Vespa into the water. Right. So the outer roads are complete. Now to just do the inner roads. I made the decision to have them as full-size roads because it was already a huge mess with 270 degree linkage. Here I'm just creating 2 diamonds for the inner roads, which would just turn to guides and are being used to move them to the central windmill. And it seems good. Sorta. I haven't connected the beams in any way that would make them stay rigid, so they just flopped around, and hilariously enough, they somehow managed to connect to each other. So now that I have made them rigid, all I needed to do was just hook them up to the hydraulic. Well, actually, hang on. I think it might be a little bit more cool if we actually rotate it in the opposite direction of how the 270 degree rotation would do. So I need to get the hydraulic to go from counterclockwise to clockwise. And fiddling around some more, I got this. Pretty neat. So, for the final center road. Unfortunately, I didn't split into 2 because it was already a ton of clutter where all the windmills, axes, and stuff were like right there, so I had to work with a 1 full-size road. Now, it was at this moment when I remembered.
It's probably fine if they like rotate during the hydraulic phase into the other side, because that shouldn't interfere with the merging of the bridges at all.
Maybe. Poor Reed does not know what I'm up to now, is he? It's time to encroach on this side, of course, but not just a little bit. we're gonna do it a lot. So you can see that I'm currently building a huge pair of V-shaped metal beams. Now they're connected to the center road, and their job is to carry that road all the way to the right side and connect to the other landmass. Why would I do this?
Good question.
I don't really have an answer other than I just thought of it then and I wasn't going to stop myself. And there you have it, an absolute mess of joints and metal that somehow created a weirdly majestic bridge, all powered with a single hydraulic. Now all I had to do was just send it over to Concord, let him merge the files, and enjoy the final bit. Alright, so
Oh boy.
this is the final product.
Oh. I don't know about that. They're just art words, like I'm trying to say stuff and I just can't.
I don't know what to say either, because other than you can tell which side. It's quite
These is a little more over-engineered, you know?
It's like this might be a little bit of a dumpster fire, but it's fine. Let's just play this.
Mine's not. I mean, it's just a collection of nodes. It's just less.
Yeah, fair enough.
Well, let's... Oh. What is this? What was it, 270-degree rotation? And the art is way on my side.
I'm looking at yours right now. That is a really cool flick.
Yeah, I'm surprised they got that to work.
I'm very... Does it work with regular road, or did you need
It does,
reinforced
actually.
road?
I just did that to
Just to
accentuate
highlight
it.
it. That's
Yeah.
fair enough. The only problem is that my side, I did try to use reinforced road for my side, but it's just so heavy. I can't do it.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, like,
it's too heavy.
I guess it's because I guess if you take a look here, let's break down. I guess we can break down both sides right now.
Right. Yeah.
You can see that. Yeah, you can see that rotates 270 degrees backwards. That just causes so much. I guess that just causes way too much strain, and it just tears it apart.
I mean, it's a lot of rotation for just a little bit of hydraulic movement.
Yeah, it is. It's just it is a beautiful mess.
Yeah.
How did you get that? How did you get that flick?
It ended up just being that it rotated around a point that was very close to its rotation point. If you see there with how the hydraulic pulls. I'm surprised it doesn't put too much stress on it.
Where does it go? Oh, here, this point.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's actually... that is a very violent pull.
I think it works only because it's not pulling too much weight along with it.
Yes. Let's do 2, 2, 2, 2. Oh, oops. Oh.
It's running away from you.
Is that it?
Dude, look at how many numbers are on the screen.
Yeah.
What?
So, cameras. There you go. So, that's how my bridge looks like in its entirety.
So much movement. Wait, do you have a 200... I mean, is that a 90-degree movement and then a 270-degree movement on the outside of it?
Yeah, inside is 90 degrees, outside is 270. I wasn't able... The bridge couldn't hold up trying to spin the other one 270 degrees backwards.
That would be insane.
There would be... If I could, that would have been awesome, but...
Yeah.
I think this might be a little bit too strong for that might be too heavy for it to handle. Or just play it. There. Okay, so you had these two rows and then these two rows. They were the two different windmills that were kind of like spinning around, right?
Yeah.
This final road, I didn't know what to do with it, so just bring it across.
That's the appropriate thing.
It feels like it's the only appropriate thing.
Well, that bridge was a mess. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure to watch the uncut footage on Arglin's channel over here. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask below. Until next time.